The Fellowship of Guelphissauga continues with the springtime rain of tax dollars from the annual Community Grant Lottery. Over 50 nonprofit organizations were given a total of $323,000 of our tax dollars in grants ranging from $1,500 to $12,000. The mayor and Sunshine Listers took the week to review the books to confirm they could afford to pay all the grants with their $13.7 million operating surplus. Meanwhile, a skirmish broke out between the Dubious Business Associates as they fought internally over who had the biggest chair at the table. But even with this dispute, the Property Developer Orcs continued their plans to privatize student housing with their new homeless student hotel at Stone Rd and Scottsdale. Can the 50 nonprofit organizations successfully spend their community grants, and will the homeless student hotel fix the housing crisis? Like the upcoming lines at EB Games this weekend, dozens of groups pre-ordered their tickets to the annual Community Grant Lottery. Over $700,000 in grants were ordered, but the corporation of the Shire gave out less than half of that, with $323,000 in total going to 56 nonprofit organizations. The biggest winners with multi-year grants over $10,000 were the Action Read Community Literacy Center of Guelph, Chalmers Community Services Center, and Torchlight Services. The grants are funding activities that enhance quality of life, inclusivity, and social supports across the Shire. Earning a one-time $5,000 grant, Rainbow Programs for Children can now fund activities to help children learn about inclusivity and the true meaning of double rainbows. To help with quality of life for the Shire's volunteers, Hillside Community Festival was granted $8,000 for 2 years to properly feed the volunteers at Hillside and help minimize the number of people rage quitting on them each year. Guelph Enabling Gardens received $6,000 over 3 years, coincidentally making 3 sixes on their application. They could use the grants to update their enabling signs at Riverside Park, since the current ones still have the same swirly symbol as the Trudeau Foundation. Art Not Shame was granted $11,000 for 3 years, which was essential for them since the key difference between art and shame is a government grant. Back at the mayor's spacious office, he and the Sunshine Listers reviewed the year-end operating budget report. Driven by staff vacancies, energy conservation, and increased revenues from taxation, it was no surprise they finished 2022 with $13.7 million in operating surplus. The report outlined the money shuffling into favorable and unfavorable positions. The Sunshine Listers faced an unfavorable year-end position for fuel costs due to its actual cost being 57% higher than budgeted, whereas they had a favorable position of 2.4% lower labor cost due to a high staff turnover rate, which was caused an increased vacancy rate due to prolonged government mandates. The mayor got bored with reading the numbers in the report, since he was more interested if the new library will go over budget before it even starts. He instead picked up a copy of the local newspaper to check out the Curdita Kitchen lunch specials. Meanwhile, in the South End student ghetto, the Dubious Business Associates skirmished over the best seat at the table. For the past 3 months, the DBA has been without an executive director since their longtime director of 11 years stepped down. Several low-level orcs fought over the comfy open seat, but they have yet to finish the infighting. They paused the skirmish to feast with Shabkiba of Shayani, the Guelph Chamber of Commerce president and CEO, who was awarded the Bernie Gillespie Memorial Award. She was honored for holding the best seats on local committees and councils while promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion as part of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce's DEI Council. But the shiny awards didn't distract the Property Developer Orcs from implementing their plans for the new homeless student hotel. Motivated by the prison-like structure of South residents, the owners of the Alma Hotel, aka Forum Asset Management, announced their intent to expand their homeless student hotel. Located directly across the street from the LCBO at Stone Rd and Scottsdale, the new student hotel will be built behind the old Holiday Inn on the university-owned land. Forum Asset's lease with the university forces them to only rent to students, so this was the only way to expand their market share once it gets approved by the fat cats in the ivory tower. There is no indication as to how many more units it might involve, which doesn't help solidify its impact on the 18,000 homes pledge or the housing crisis. Currently, the Alma Student Hotel, one-bedroom units range from $1,500 to $1,600, whereas two-bedroom units are $1,425 per person. The Shire's housing crisis is a pricing problem, so these inflated prices will have little to no impact on the student rental market. It's still cheaper for students to live on the other side of the Hanlon, where historically you can get two-bedroom units for half the cost, or the other option is to live in the Batchlands for free with a Starlink connection at $140 per month. Will the 50 nonprofit organizations spend our tax dollars responsibly? And can the homeless student hotel help the housing crisis? Stay tuned here to see.